Welcome to Global Achievers Lab, the podcast where we speak English, Français, Derija, Espanol. Every language, every color, every flavor belongs. Nobody blinks when you switch mid-sentence. You're at home here. Global Achievers Lab helps you turn your cultural fluency into a real superpower, the one that opens doors at the world's top universities and companies. In our global leaders' portraits and inside tracks, CEOs, leading scientists, and brilliant students show you how they turned living between worlds into their sharpest advantage. You'll walk away with real strategies to win over the institutions everyone calls out of reach, without ever pretending to be someone you're not. Because excellence doesn't erase who you are, it reveals it. I'm Monia Bricky. Together, let's make your multicultural story your passport to the world. So today we are at Queen Mary's Open Days, and we just attended a very interesting presentation about business management with Federica Liberini.
Correct.
And thank you very much. It was super interesting. So we couldn't stop ourselves from asking you more questions, and you kindly invited us to, like, what is it, your office?
My office, yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for the time. And we had some questions we wanted to ask you. So first of all, can you introduce yourself?
Yes. So my name is Federica, and I'm an applied economist. I have studied economics throughout my entire life. I did my undergrad in Italy, where I'm from, and then I came to the UK, where I did my master and PhD in economics at the University of Warwick. After completing my PhD, I held a position at ETH Zürich as a postdoctoral researcher in public finance. And then after that, I came back to the UK to start like a more classically British academic career. So my first position was as a lecturer at University of Bath in the Department of Economics. And then I moved to Queen Mary. I live in London, and the aspiration was always to be able to move my career in one of the big London universities. And so now I've been for 3.5 years at Queen Mary, first as a lecturer, now as a senior lecturer.
Yeah, so at Queen Mary, it's a very active and very growing department of business management. What can you tell us about it?
So the school has been growing over the last 20 years exponentially. Like we are now a school of business and management with over 100 academics, I think 130. Wow. And we're so big that we are structured in 5 different departments to kind of group the specialties of all the lecturers, senior lecturers, professors who work here. So we're very active, but also very multidisciplinary. Mm-hmm. And there's a nice cohesive effort of bringing this multidisciplinarity across in our programs. So the school has these 5 departments that collaborate on designing our degrees that benefit from the expertise of all departments. Yeah.
So students who apply for business management, for instance, would still benefit from...
They will be taught by academics from all departments,
okay.
Yes. Yeah, so wherever there is a need of doing something more quantitative based, it will be my department, which is the Department of Business Analytics and Applied Economics, very mouthful name. Marketing will be taught by academics of the marketing department, accounting by the accounting department, and so on.
Right. Yes. Yeah. And about the business management studies in general, what are the main, because we are speaking to like students from the UK, but also a lot of international students that want to have a successful career in business. What are the main skills, in your opinion, to have or to develop when we want to have a successful career in business management?
So I don't know, one way of putting it is that I think there is a wrongful way of thinking about it. Like you can think of doing business as starting out to be an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. That's one way to think about it. Yeah. But I think that's very restrictive. I think that we have to think about business as organizations. And an organization can be a governmental organization, an institutional organization, a business organization, or a humanitarian organization, a non-profit, a socially driven, and all of this. And I think that when you start thinking of business as organizations, then you understand that there is a complexity of aspects that have to be taken into account at the same time, right? So in my mind, being a business student means being very critical of all the multifaceted aspects that pertain letting the machine of that organization move. So it's managing people, but also organizing people. It's organizing workflow, being efficient while being sustainable, being inclusive while being competitive, being inspirational while being data-driven. Like there's a lot of there's a lot to balance, and the most that a business degree can give you is that I think give you a comprehensive picture of how all of those different facets interconnect to one another. Yeah, and how they also compete with one another, and how to find the right way of assessing them. So not simply how do I run a business.
It's very interesting. So we really need to start this journey with an open mind, with the will to understand the whole system.
I think so.
And it can bring us everywhere. It can be an NGO or during the presentation you spoke also about maybe because you had in mind this student who were fascinated about with communication, marketing and stuff, and didn't care about data. And you said, like, whenever you turn, you need data analytics to answer business questions. Yeah. So can you expand a little bit more about that?
Yes, so I think that you're right. Like for me, I have always cared. So I have taught for a long time in economics departments, and there students come with the same fears, but I think that they know that it's socially unacceptable to express them. So nobody come to you and expressively tells you, I don't want to do any data analytics. Yes. It's kind of banned to talk about it. But in business schools, people are more open about it. But the problem is the same. Yeah. Students everywhere tend to find whether there's a way of running past the burden of learning how to do data analytics.
Escape all these modules of
yes, but can I maybe this is a bit off as a response, but I want to tell like a personal story because I think it's where I want to get to. Like I think that for sure part of the problem is caused by us, by a mix of how we portray this subject, these disciplines, and how students are ill or only partially prepared about them from secondary school. So there is I think that partly this is given by misinformation on what it actually entails to study these things and how fun it can be. And it's not just a nerdy thing, it's really about, as I spoke about earlier, it's really about like starting from a question that is interesting to you, and it's a critical question that doesn't have an obvious answer. And then it's really the decision of how do I answer to this difficult question? Do I answer with my heart? And my heart could be biased, it could be influenced by others, it could be strongly conditioned by some personal experience that have no objective foundation. Or do I try to answer in a way that provides an answer that cannot be attacked after it's implemented, right? Because it's supported by data evidence that nobody can contest if done correctly. So I think that when we start looking at it in this way, we also understand that these disciplines are very creative, very, they can be strongly dependent on personal individual input. There is a lot of critical thinking that goes into them, and they're not at all about, proofs and definitions. And yes, you need to learn them, but that's only part of the story. There's a lot of creativity. There's a lot of fun, and it's only about approaching them in the right way. And from our side, I think it's learning how to teach this subject in a way that leaves the door open to intuition. When I teach my students, and I know that my audience doesn't have a very strong quant background, I always try to start from the intuition. It's exactly the example of the sharks that I gave today. It's such a childish story that people would laugh at it, but how impactful it is in really embedding in someone's mind the difference between two things happening at the same time, and one thing causing the other, right?
Maybe you can summarize the shark.
So it's just it's an example that everybody uses when starting to teach this material, and it's an example of saying, if you observe that a lot of people are attacked by, a lot more people than usual are attacked by shark in a seaside place, one option is, and also at the same time you know that people are eating a lot of ice cream, should you introduce a tax on ice cream to reduce consumption of ice cream and deter people from being attacked by sharks? But of course that decision is completely wrong, because it assumes that you are observing a lot of people are eating ice cream and a lot of the people being attacked by shark, because one causes the other. When of course it's just two things happening at the same time, and it's really the temperature that is leading both to the seaside, and they're eating lots of ice cream, they're bathing more, they get more attacked, and
so both are true, but there is just a correlation, not a causality, and it's.
I think the other example that lecturers also used is if it's when it rains a lot, you see a lot of people with the umbrella. But it's not like if you leave your house with an umbrella, you're causing the rain, right? It's just the things happen.
Also about, we were speaking about the skills, the mindset that students need to have in order to be successful and to enjoy their studies. And also a lot of students are really worried about AI, of course. So it's very interesting, because I don't know if you read that study. There is, in one hand, a lot of students like jump into AI, do everything with AI, and don't realize that maybe they sacrifice some skills development in there. But also other students that are really worried and also skeptical, and they don't want to use AI at work, and they refuse to. So still, like whether we are in the first group or in the second, AI is there and has already impacted a lot of jobs. What is your opinion on that? How to maybe prevent it, like to stay like competitive in this in the job market in this really evolving context?
Yeah, it's an open debate, and there is no clear answer. So my opinions, I mean, I have opinions, but they are not, they're only partial and they're personal opinions. But I always start from the thought that when internet came out, and I was there, I'm old enough to remember when it came out.
I was not born.
No, for me, So for me, I remember when it came out, and I always thought nobody ever came to me and told me not to use it. So why should I tell my students not to use a super powerful technology that has come out and that has the potential of making things more efficient, more productive, and all of this? So I think that I don't espouse the approach of saying I reject it, because it's there, and it's there at least for the medium term to stay. But there are a lot of questions about how to use it in such a way that doesn't harm our intellectual growth. So
this is a question,
I think that my advice to the students is always use it, but use it cleverly. Be critical of it. Don't trust it. And try and understand or inform yourself of what it actually is. It's not a problem solver. It's a large language model, right? So it takes information, it combines them together, and it organizes them for you. And it does it with the underpinning goal of convincing you of what it's saying. So you have to be fully aware of what it is, and once you are, then you can start develop the skills of how to use it. But that's where we come into play as well, right? So as educators, I think we need to change what we do to to teach students how to use it and to take them by hand and help them highlight where it is useful, where it is not useful, where it needs to be stimulated more than in other places. Like, if I have to write an email and all I need is to polish the text of the email, which to a student can be transferred as if I have to write an assignment and I have more or less written it, but I want it to look good. Of course, it's phenomenal. Why not to use it to polish the way you use the text to convey that message? That's something in which it's fantastic. Everybody who tells you that they don't use it for that. But something different is instead using it to create an idea. So, for example, in my module, the assignment consists of thinking about a question, finding data, and analyzing the question with a set of data. Yes, it can give you some ideas, but it will not give you creative ideas. It will not give you innovative ideas. So you need to be aware of it, because and we need to teach you how to read in between the lines and how to spot whether what's selling you as something innovative is indeed innovative or not.
Yeah, and it also, in that sense, it can maybe limit the creativity, because if we ask AI to find the ideas for us, generally they will use ideas that are already
for sure. I think that, for example, I tell the students, try to, in the context of this assignment, I gave we spent 1 hour brainstorming together, and I told them, now let's try an exercise. Let's try the same question. Let's first ask the blank, the open question. I want to do the assignment on, I don't know, labor and AI. Give me questions. Yeah. So we mimicked the approach of a student to sublet the whole assignment to the AI, and we saw how creative and how innovative the answers were. And then in the second instance, we said, okay, now let's sit together, let's think about possible angles that we can use to approach this question, and let's ask AI to criticize the ideas we had and to find the weaknesses. And then we saw that was useful, because it was useful to highlight, okay, this is a bit weak here. It's been done so many times there. Maybe try to add something there. Maybe you're missing. So it's just an example, and much better can be done of it. But, I think there are different users within the same context that can bring to completely different results. Yeah. And in one way, you have the students the student is still really thinking a lot, because what we want at uni is critical thinking. Yeah. We don't care that you arrive with a huge baggage of knowledge and you are an expert in what we are going to teach you now, but we want you to be willing to do work by yourself on top of what we teach you, to enrich your own understanding of some kind of conceptual, intellectual topic. Yeah. So, and that's what we risk in our skills. That's what we don't want.
Okay, so use it, but within a time frame, a framework, and with specific.
With the caveat that the experts need to teach which those right users are. Right?
And also, maybe my last question. There is a lot of students who are very interested in business management or business in general, but they don't know, because there is so many options. We met a student recently. He said, "Oh, okay, I knew that I wanted to apply to business. I knew that this university was good, and it was one of the best universities in the UK. And he just applied. He clicked one button. He ended up in a 4-year program doing something that he has not really chosen. So maybe if from all the option or I mean, it's of course there is personal preferences, but I don't know what are the main difference of the main program. You spoke about 5 specialties that you are offering. What are the main difference overall?
So I think to a student like that, I would say, and probably is what I would say to our interested possible future students, is forget about the names, because the names of programs are just an attempt to distinguish yourself. Go and look at the actual modules that you have to do in each of the programs, and to make your life easy, because there are a lot of options. Focus on the core modules, because the way a university program works, and in the first year they give you the foundation, second year they start introducing the specialties, and then in the third year you really become an expert of a few of the specialties, right? So when you see what the core modules are, that's an indication of what that module is preparing you to be an expert of. So I don't know, for example, our marketing program is very heavy on marketing modules from the second year onwards, and it has much less focus on accounting or human resources. Our management program has many more options of studying human resources specialties than our accounting and marketing is. And our business analytics module opened doors to a lot of niche also. We have modules on supply chain, on blockchain. We do more quant subjects. So it's more the business analytics. It's really like a deep dive into the business analytics side of things, rather than it being one of the skills you get in your program.
And business analytics, by the way, it's interesting because it is the new name of econometrics.
I think it's the way we teach. I mean,
because in my time
it didn't exist, right?
No, well, yeah. For us, I mean, we had econometrics, or economy, But I think it's data driven, right? So in the past, even 10 years ago, like you had all the macro data from the international institutions. You had some surveys and national longitudinal data set, like the census. But besides that, it was very difficult to get information about businesses, like, to track. I was at a wonderful panel by some LBS academics the other day, and one of them was saying, think about it, like the most, I'll cite him, like the most frequent type of business in the world is the micro business. It's the corner shop guy, right? He's himself, his wife, and maybe a child. And this is like more than 90% of businesses in the world. But this is the least studied one. Because there's not many data on it, right? And when we think of business, we think of the big
exactly.
company.
But this is changing now. So now we have data to study that. We have data to track people's. Think about the decision consumers make when choosing what to buy, where to buy it, how much to buy of it, how to consume it, how to report on its consumption. This now you can study it. 10 years ago, no. So I think it's. The availability of data has opened the door to reassess many aspects of the classic business management in a very analytical way, right? And that's why, so even textbooks is the same. In the past, you would teach econometrics in business schools and use textbooks created for economics. Now you have fantastic textbooks in business analytics for business studies, and they're very interesting.
So you are the guys responsible of all the meal deal thing, because whenever I go to shop for the meal, for in the shops for meal deals, and I mean, I of course with my economics background, I think of the way, like, of course, the pricing and the packaging, and the idea is to make you of course buy, and I realize now that they had used a lot of analytics to do this kind of thing,
Cost and marketing.
And it's marketing. No, it's not only marketing, because I mean, I'm sure they studied a lot of data on what people use, and they put just the product that they wanted to. Yeah. Anyway, I think that because I spent so much time looking at the computing, I need to go study on that.
It's the overflow of information.
Oh my God.
Ces talents que l'on découvre ensemble, capables de switcher entre les cultures, de passer d'une conférence à Genève à un dîner familial à Tunis, les entreprises et les universités se les arrachent. Si cette conversation résonne avec toi, partage cet épisode, active la cloche et laisse un avis 5 étoiles. Et si tu veux transformer cette richesse en avantages concrets, que tu construises ton parcours ou que tu recrutes ces profils, retrouve Skills Up. Le lien est en description. Rendez-vous dans 2 semaines dans Global Achievers Lab pour une nouvelle rencontre. En attendant, remember, ton parcours n'est pas compliqué, il est unique et il est riche.